Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Our first story about why you should be a polite person even if your parents are millionaires. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Crappy roommate gets owned. Background on my roommate. My piece of crap roommate, POS from here out, was horrible. He was going to college for no reason and was on a full ride through financial aid and bragged constantly about it. The problem with that is his parents are millionaires and he makes a crap ton of money showing cattle while I'm a middle class and get only $500 per year in financial aid while paying out of pocket and with loans. He also bought a brand new $40,000 truck while in college because he doesn't have to pay a cent for his college education, just to give you an example. Well, he gets crap grades, cheats on every assignment and test, and parties nightly, especially on Thirsty Thursday. Being an engineering student, I don't understand this tradition as I haven't the time for it. He comes home blackout drunk at 2 in the morning and is extremely loud, like windows shaking loud. He also drives in that condition. He's also a huge douche with housekeep up, will not provide paper products at all. I started hiding my TP as he'll go through a jumbo roll per day, will not clean, and generally makes a huge mess. He's also very abusive to his girlfriend. I could go on, but nah, you get the picture. The offense. He was so crappy to everyone all the time, this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I and the other tenants, 3 of us, picked a weekend to clean the house. Everyone agreed, even POS did. Then halfway through the week, POS informs us that he'll be leaving for the weekend, so he won't be able to clean. 3rd time this has happened. He is also filled, except for one shelf of our full-size fridge, only one in the house, with crappy beer. He also decides to thaw raw meat, not on a plate and wrapped in nothing, but a paper wrapping on top of all of the other 3 tenants' food. It obviously leaked through the paper and got all over our food in the fridge. We tell him to remove the beer before he leaves and to clean his crap up and replace our food that has been contaminated with raw meat. We remind him almost hourly of this for the rest of the week. Friday comes around, and by the time the rest of us get back from class, POS is gone. He's done nothing. We were PO'd. The revenge. We cleaned the house that weekend anyway. We also took the thawed meat from the fridge, and since his truck was still there, his girlfriend drove that weekend, we grabbed his spare keys and spread that crap all over the engine. Have fun when that puppy heats up. We then removed the beer, 80-something cans from the fridge, and set it in our yard with a sign, "Free beer," and waited. 3/4 of the beer was gone by that night, so we took the rest of it back inside and shook the crap out of every single can, then hid them all over the house. We also replaced his pillow with cans of beer since he launches himself onto his bed. We then wait. POS returns and, being the definition of stupid, doesn't notice anything. Goes to his room and flops onto his bed. Thunk! What the F? Why is there beer in my pillow? We're dying laughing, but manage to keep it quiet. He confronts us about it, and we tell him he should have moved his beer and not ditched cleaning. He never noticed most of it was missing. He was PO'd as his tiny brain couldn't register that he was supposed to clean too, and in general pitch in and not be a douche. Then came the kicker. Throughout the week, he kept complaining that his truck smelled awful and he couldn't figure it out. Well, that Thursday, he went out to get blasted again. We threw the free beer sign into the back of his truck with his beer. 2 in the morning rolls around and he busts through the door, again near blackout drunk, bitching about how some N-word stole his beer. Oh, I forgot to say, he was also underage at the time. He then leaves to go to his girlfriend's house, driving himself again while drunk, so we call the cops with his truck description and where he's headed, as we're sick of dealing with a drunk POS and him endangering everyone else in town. He gets busted, blows a ridiculously high BAC, and gets DUI and an underage. The college drops his financial aid, and he has to sell his truck to pay for college. Justice is served, a-hole. Now you get to live like the rest of us plebes. And our second story. Turn your water on? I'll make sure you can't do that again. So I work as a water operator for a small municipality. I have 1,500 water taps to homes and businesses and roughly 5,000 people that get water from my system. I've done my job for 3 years, And if you ask any water operator, they will have a story just like this or worse. So it all starts with our customer. Let's call him DL. It was winter 2015, and DL's service line going to his house goes under a state road. Frost goes much deeper on uncovered areas, especially roads. DL's line freezes. So DL calls us, and we come to thaw the line. This was probably our 5th customer of the year to have this happen. We tell him to run water, and we take his metering device off so he can run it and not worry about overage. Cut to 3 days later. 3 days later, DL calls me to say his water froze again. I ask if he was running water, already knowing the answer. He says he has. Last I checked, running water will never ever freeze unless it's ungodly cold, but DL claims it has. Okay, we thaw it again, and this time it sticks. So we talk to DL and decide to put a new tap and pit in for him on a street above him, $1,500 for free. All he has to do is put a new service in, 120 feet, and he will never worry about freezing and have loads of pressure he didn't have on his ancient line. He says sure, he'll get right on it. We put the new stuff in for DL in May and watch his place till mid-August, and we see that he's not put in his new line. So I give our solicitor a call to see if we can get things rolling. Solicitor writes up an unofficial notice saying DL has until the end of September to put his line in. I guess DL didn't like this because he comes to a monthly meeting our company has, open to the public, to dispute his line being shut off. His reasoning is that he pays for his water, it can't be shut off. Well, it can be when you agree to put new stuff in and also get a $1,500 tap for free. DL's case wasn't helped when he came to the meeting drunk as a skunk and carrying a gun on his hip. He was shut down and kicked out, and it felt great. So our board gives DL until October 31st to get his line in. He gets an official notice by registered mail. You have to sign for it or else it comes back to us saying he has until November 1st to put his line in or the water will be shut off. The big day comes and no new line is put in. So I shut DL's water off like I would anyone who didn't pay their bill. DL stops by our office screaming about his water being off. When asked if he read the notice, he says he never got it. Our secretaries tell him they can't do anything, and DL leaves. Looking at the security cameras we have, you can clearly see our notice sticking out of his pocket. Keep in mind, he has to sign for this notice to be delivered, and we never got it back. A few days go by, and I get a feeling he turned his water back on. Sure enough, we check, and DL has turned himself on. I upgrade and use a lockout tool. Basically, it's 2 plastic plates with rubber in the middle. When it's screwed down, the rubber expands and seals the curb box you turn the water on from. I put this in the pipe after shutting the water off. The next day, I stop by and see DL broke our lockout tool and turned himself back on and put the tool in there as if I wouldn't notice. So I go from a 1 in my fighting scale to a 100. I get my crew to come together and we stake out the house. Once DL leaves for work, we strike. We dig up his line across the state road and unhook it from the main. But me being the vindictive jerk that I am, that's not the end. I hook a chain to the backhoe we're using and pull his 25-foot copper line out from under the road and leave it in his driveway. I go to our district courthouse and also have him fined almost $300 for turning himself on illegally and rendering a theft of service against him. Good luck turning your water on now, a-hole. And our last story. Can't use my cell phone at work? Have fun texting me when you want something. I used to work as a manager at a small business. I was the only employee on site during the day, so I was expected to answer the phone, check in deliveries, help walk-in customers, etc. anytime they came in. Because I constantly needed to be available, I didn't have a real lunch break. I would just eat my lunch at my desk when I had time. One afternoon, my boss called me on the office phone and very casually asked, "Hey, what's going on? What are you working on?" I told him the project I was in the middle of, and he said, "Really? Because I've been watching the cameras and you've been messing around on your cell phone for the last 5 minutes." I explained to him that my fiance had texted because there was an emergency that had come up and I was trying to help him handle it, giving him the account information, logins and passwords, etc., since I was working and couldn't handle it. His response was, "I don't care. I don't ever want to catch you on your phone again." I tried to explain that I didn't get any breaks or anything during the day, so I didn't have any of my own time to handle things that may come up. But he didn't care. So knowing full well that the owners, the other managers, and staff members constantly texted me throughout the day whenever they needed something, I complied. The next day I came in and I left my phone in my purse. I had a smartwatch so I could see when I got a text, but I didn't answer because I wasn't allowed to be on my phone. After 2 days of me ignoring their requests during the day and only answering their texts after leaving, saying, "Sorry, I didn't see your text because I'm not allowed to be on my phone at work. I've already left for the day," my boss came in and told me we needed to have a discussion. He called me out on my malicious compliance, but also acknowledged that I was essentially locked in the office for 8 hours a day, so going forward, I could take a half-hour lunch break where I didn't have to do anything else, and I was allowed to use my phone during the day as long as I didn't abuse the privilege. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.